Okay, it's recording, so welcome back. We have done so much on these topics of persuasive oral presentation. Okay, very busy with this thing. All right, done this, you understand this, you understand this. We've done memorable, and then we jump into emotional or emotion. Memorable, we need our presentation to be memorable by using the story structure. We borrow story structure from Pixar, yeah, you know, the structure of story, and inside the story there is emotional punch. So that is why from memorable we're going to jump into emotion, and we're going to come back to visual probably Monday. Okay, it's gonna be handful. There'll be a lot of things because emotion is the most it is the most important stimulus. B, it is quite tough on our understanding of the physiology, psychology, and then neuroscience that not within our forte. But we try our best to use this emotion stimulus and to apply it later on in our pop assignment. Okay, all right, so you do have a song, yeah, that you can actually make you cry. So I was playing all kind of song just now. What's his name? Elton John song la, Man Bai song la. Some of the song can make you cry. Something happened in your past that you know, make you cry. So you don't want to share, fine. But there are also songs that make you feel happy. So what happened is that all these songs come as a stimulation to your sense. In this case, your ears. So that will also at the same time stimulate the memory storage in your brain. And by stimulating the senses combined with the stimulation of the memory storage, we activate the working memory. This activation of working memory is the secret behind the release of emotion in our audience brain. So we want to do that. We want to achieve activation of working memory. That is why it is very important to use a very high intensity stimulation of the sense in order for us to achieve the stimulations of the memory storage, and then we're going to activate the working memory. Okay, I know you are fasting, some of you. Now look at that. Ooh, look at the color of that thing. Look at imagine the texture. Imagine this thing in your mouth. Yeah, I'm not supposed to do this, but it's part of the syllabus, okay? So something is going on in your brain now. You're not happy with me? Fine. Imagine the taste, the aroma. Now you start to feel something. So what happened is that we are now giving you a stimulation of the sense, which is your vision. Your vision is stimulated. Now it start to go into your long-term memory storage. So something happened in your brain that you starting to remember how this thing feel or taste. It's very complex. Nobody can really explain how memory really work, but it works and it's very effective. So this is just a picture. What if I give you a real durian? So you start to chew it, start to taste it, all kind of senses being activated in the mouth, and the aroma go to your nose. Start to have this consolidation of chewing, consolidation of taste, and then also the aroma, and then the brain start to process all this information, and at the same time your brain also have to store whatever feeling or emotion you feel together with the sensation of eating the durian, and you keep it in this long-term memory storage. So next time when your sense is stimulated, your senses are stimulated with the same fruits, you start to come up with that emotion, that feelings. Sometimes sometimes you feel happy, sometimes you're not happy with the quality of the durian, depending on your previous experience. Can you feel it? Okay, you think this is bad? Wait, coming soon. Now. Okay, now imagine this in your mouth. Yeah. Well, something more effective is if you can imagine a young young mango in your mouth. The feeling is more or less the same. Your brain, it doesn't do anything. It just release whatever was there. So this is the senses active stimulation, the eye, the vision, and that will stimulate the memory storage in the brain. So you combine the two, boom, 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 boom. You activate the working memory. So working memory is the one that is being controlled by the primal brain that release back the emotions. Okay, so how does it work? In order to retrieve and report information that has been presented to us, we use three types of memory. Number one is sensory memory, which is the very short period, depending on the intensity of this stimulation. So it depends on how strong is the stimulation. That is why if somebody come and shout versus somebody come and whisper, the shouting, the screaming is stronger, give you stronger emotion, and that will heighten the attention and make the sensory memories stronger. And then this sensory memory will be transferred to the short-term memory, which is slightly longer than sensory memory. And how strong is the short-term memory will be depending on the stimulation of the sensory memory first. So again, it depends on the stimulation that you supply to this sense of us. Then only you start to go to the working memory, which is longer than short-term memory. It will start to transform the information in order for you to make decision, or in order for you to establish some kind of thought. All right, so at the same time, you also stimulate your memory storage, and you activate your working memory. So the aim of POP is to make sure it is easy for our audience brains to manipulate the information they receive. There are so many information that our audience receive. We want to make sure it is easy for the audience brain to manipulate this information. We don't want them to struggle. We don't want them to be complex about it. We want it to be easy for them. In order for them to be easy, we have to activate the working memory. So our audience use their working memory, but it needs activation. How do you activate the audience working memory? By stimulating the senses and this long-term memory storage. Okay, so that is why the choice of image that you choose, your sound, maybe your voice, even the way you dress, the color of your outfit, the color of your lipsticks. All of these will help to stimulate the senses, and it will, link back to the long-term memory storage of your audience. So the reason we focus so much on emotion is because emotion engages primal brain that is later to be processed by the working memory. So imagine if you fail to evoke this emotion, your primal brain will not be engaged, the door will not be open to the rational brains. Without this activation of working memory, there will be no retention of your talk. Your talk is boring, it's not worth paying attention because it failed to activate the working memory, no emotion. So now we need to understand the emotions. We are now a part-time psychologist, part-time neuroscientist, yeah. All right, emotion test number 1. Have a look at this picture. How do you feel? Tell me. Can write down your feeling. Cutie, 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 yes. You can feel it. Can you feel this? Stress. Ah. Anyway, a lot of things happen in your audience life when they're growing up. When you were growing up, lots of things happen to your life too. Sometimes we have good memories. Sometimes we have not so good memories. Yeah. So memories are stored inside that memory storage together with feelings. You don't just store. You don't just store information. You store it because there is a very strong emotion follow the memory. Something happened with some feelings, some emotion, and you store these two together. It creates some kind of memory pattern. Yeah. When our senses and the relevant memory storage are stimulated, all this emotion that we stored together with the events memory, it will come back. The emotion will come back. Yeah. So we do not know what is the memories of our audience, but we use as much as possible proper stimulation to bring back that old emotion that they store in their memory storage. Okay. Imagine that you have a breakup. Well, what to do? You don't love him anymore, and he's seeing another girl. So now you have to break up. Between face to face, have you have a meeting, the final last meeting, or you're going to have a breakup using WhatsApp? Which one is more painful? WhatsApp more painful. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't recommend to use WhatsApp to do a breakup. Just an example. Imagine you have to meet your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and then during this breakup, one of you could cry. You want to break out, he doesn't want to break out. There's going to be uncomfortable feeling there. So it is more stressful, more painful here. It is more memorable because you allow the emotion to come, so you will keep it. If it is so strong, it will be kept in your memory storage. If you don't want to remember the breakup, what you want to do, just use the WhatsApp. Not recommended, just give a stupid example, okay? Okay, emotion is the glue of your memory. Emotion is the glue to anybody's memory. You want to you want to bring back that emotion, you must play around with the memory storage. You want to take out that memory from the memory storage of that audience. And we know now that whatever emotional message you have, it will improve retention and recall. and by having this combination of very strong emotion, we will have the emotional leaf. I will introduce this concept of emotional leaf later. And then because emotion make us afraid, give us some kind of fear, emotion help us to survive. So therefore, emotion is something to do with our primal brain. It is about survival. Yeah. It's very difficult to control our emotion because it is primal. It is in bahasa Melayu, bahasa Malaysia. It is purba. Emotion is purba. Okay, but humans are all emotions. Yeah, we try to avoid it, we try to ignore it, but we are all emotional. We can use this emotion to impact our presentation. Okay. Okay, now this thing can happen. Some of you already experienced it. Some of you still lucky, good. Hopefully nobody will get mugged or will get robbed. Imagine in the middle of the night, 1 or 2 in the morning, you are asleep in bed. Suddenly you rudely woken up by these figures, robbers, trying to get all kind of money from your house. That is very scary. That's very negative event. Versus you got promoted for a job. So there are two events here. One is positive, another is negative. So do you think, which one do you think is more stronger in terms of emotion? Which glue is stronger? Negative event or positive events? Yeah, negative, 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 negative. All right. Mostly negative, yeah. So negative event a very strong glue to the emotion. So um, when we try to cheer people up, make them happy, yeah, they will get happy, but not as strong as you make people go down in terms of their sadness. Sadness is a stronger emotion than happiness. Okay, when we do presentation, we start with a something negative, something to, we call this avoid emotion. Avoid emotion, yeah? Something that you don't want our audience want to avoid. Being robbed, something we are afraid of, something sadness, something that we do not want. So we start here, so therefore it is very strong. Yeah. And then along the presentation, you add all this, maybe a joke, maybe something cute, and then you introduce the solution to their problems. This is the positive event. They call it approach emotion. That is the negative, which is the avoid emotions. So we start with the something for people to avoid. We convince them there are bad things is happening, something that coming to their life soon. There's a new problems. So they're becoming some kind of negative now. They're becoming stressful. You create the stress for the audience. Okay. Then maybe after that there is one product we introduce, or you wait for the last minute, about maybe 20 minutes later, then you introduce this solution to the problems. Okay, don't worry about the Mr. Bean and Cat. That is just the side humor, side emotion to help them cope with the whole presentation. Okay. Okay, another way to look at this is by considering this man being trying to balance his walk across that valley. You start with the one on the left. Okay, nothing happened. Boring, not so memorable. Yeah, boring, no challenge whatsoever. Then you, the speaker, the presenter, start to add something. You add wait. So the man now is actually becoming more stressful because there's elements of struggle. He is trying to balance the steel rod now. It's going to be more difficult to balance. You created what we call a tension. Okay, hoo-ha, he try, he's feeling down, he's feeling stressed. And then at the end of this, you're being proper, then you introduce the solution, your products, how does your products help. So first struggle and then victory. First tension and then restore the balance or liberation from the tension. So struggle plus victory, tension plus liberation from tension, you get that emotional relief. Okay, this is a better presentation because it has emotional leaf. The one without any emotional leaf, it is so straightforward, just information. People is not going to remember it, but the one with the emotional leaf is going to be more memorable. That is why you have to introduce some kind of tension in the beginning, some kind of avoid emotion in order for the audience to feel the struggle. They have tension in their brains. Don't worry, at the end of the talk, you are going to introduce the solution. Let them experience from struggle to victory, from tension to liberation of tension. Just like watching movie, in the beginning, the heroes experience struggle. There's a lot of struggle. His best friend died, being killed by the villains, and then his girlfriend threatened to leave him. These are all struggle. But don't worry, the hero will fight, and then at the end, the villains will be captured and kept in jail. His girlfriend starting to see his good side, starting to love him again. So at the end, there is victory. The heroes win. So the audience feels satisfied because of this plot. There is a story there, but your audience, they don't know it. They just thought that it is a normal presentation, but you design it in such a way that it make them believe that they are watching a movie, some kind of movie, pop movie. Okay, so we have these two types of primal emotions that we can use during pop. One is avoidance, another is approach, one is a villain, another is the hero. So the most that I want you to focus is the fear and the anticipations. So humans or audience, they want to avoid fear, they want to avoid sadness, disgusting, and also anger. But they want joy, they want anticipation of pleasure, they want trust, they want surprise. They like something surprise. So what you do in the first part of your talk, first you have to creatively remind them the prospect of their pain. They may not know anything about their pain yet, so it is your job to introduce the pain, remind them the prospect of their pain. Okay, that is the role of the primal, the personal stimulus. Yeah, the fear of regret, or I call this FOR to make you remember, the most powerful negative emotion to be used. Fear of regrets. FOR can amplify the effect of any persuasive messages. Okay, FOR, you have to remember this, fear of regrets. Don't worry, I will talk about this later. But we're not going to leave our audience with fear of regrets. We're not going to leave them high and dry. We have to, at the end, introduce anticipation After they experience the prospects of pain, now we have to let them feel the experience of the gain. Okay, so the one that I'm going to use is the anticipation, which is a prediction that we will receive excitement, joy, pleasure, happiness if the audience engage in a specific experience, in this case, consuming your products. So you bombard with all kind of prospect of pain. You know, there's gonna be too many people going into the city, urban life. Where people are not taking care of their health. People are eating because they're hungry, not because of nutrients. Blah blah blah. Because of that, doom 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 doom, hill disease. So you will experience this particular problem by the time you reach 40. Look at your brother, look at your uncle. They are starting to show the sign. You amplify the effect by using this fear of regrets. If you don't do this, you will have the risk of this and this and this. If you don't take care of your health now, you will experience this and this and this. That is very scary. But they are scared. They're having the pain now. So you must at the end introduce the gain, the experience of the gain. Something good is coming at the end. The heroes are coming at the end. No longer a struggle, now a victory is coming. Okay, you get the idea. FOR, now we're going into a little bit of the psychology or the brain science. I do not know what to call this. Let's focus first on the FOR on your left. Forget about that POA first. Just focus on this FOR, fear of regrets. So your audience listen to you, they're starting to ask themselves, what if, what if, what if? So what if they choose an option that turned out badly or pass on an option that turned out to be better than the status quo? What if they choose one option that actually a very bad option, or they say no? What if they say no to your products and it turned out to be good for the status quo? They do not know, because when they say no to your product, they do not know what's going to happen. That will create the fear of regret. When they have the fear of regret, they will prolong the risk of threat of making the wrong decision. Okay, so what happened in their brain? Actually, they are facing some kind of stress. You manage to create the stress. So there are two systems. One is the quick one, the fight or flight. When you see a cat about to fight, you see the fur becoming race, become the cat looks bigger, right? They want to fight. That's because the brain stem releases no adrenaline hormone, which is the fight or flight situation. In about 30 minutes later, the hypothalamus releases another stress hormone called cortisol and adrenocorticotropics hormones. The role of this is to calm the stress. So the psychology is that you're not supposed to wait too long for to introduce your products or the solution, because the effect of these hormones to calm the stress is that cortisol is known to lower cognitive processing and retention. So if you wait for 1 hour to introduce your product, they will not retain the attention. That's why your assignment is only like 20 minutes to present per person, 20 minutes. That's it. So the the effect is still no adrenaline. The cortisol is not yet there. So the effect is still about the retention. By the time you wait for 30 minutes, only you want to introduce your products or your solution, then they are no longer in the mood of retaining or retaining the information. Yeah. Okay. That is fear of regrets. Then you have this pleasure of anticipation, POA. Basically, what happens is that in the brain of your audience here, the persuasive messages directly stimulate dopamine. Dopamine, you know, dope, D-O-P-E is a drugs. Dopamine is released, and this release of dopamine. Somebody want to come now? Where is he? Okay, never mind. Oh, John already. Okay, neurotransmitter dopamine release. So doping is meant that it is a kind of a reward system, and this is the psychology of it. Yeah, why you need to know about our psychology, because it's involved a lot in real life. Okay, this is analogy. This is a metaphor that happened in real life. This is a squirrel. It is hungry. Now the squirrel suffer from pain and suffer and unsatisfaction. You know, it's not happy, and then the stress hormone come out in the brain. So now the squirrel facing this fear for survival, it must search for food. If it does not search for food, he learned from the past that the feeling of pain of being hungrier than this is going to be very, very bad for its health. So frantically and with a very strong determination to survive, this squirrel will search for food, and suddenly he detect food in the distance, maybe from the smell, maybe from the from the air or something. So when you detect the food, you start to have this pleasure of anticipation, and in his brain the dopamine is released, and the squirrel experience alertness, excitement, and sensation, and he find the food and he eat the food and he gets satisfied. Okay, that is your audience right there. Your audience is like the squirrel. Yeah, they are hungry, they are in pain, they are suffering. When they are in this condition, then you can persuade them. If your audience is full or satisfied, you can't persuade them. It wouldn't be effective. You must find a way how to bring satisfied into unsatisfied or in pain. That is why there is no point. You see, people are so comfortable in their chair. They are not really interested to listen to your talk. That because they're satisfied. I mean, they have no pain at all. They don't see any reason to listen to you. The talk is not personal enough. It's not urgent. There's no pain, so there is no. They're not hungry enough for the pop that you're trying to present. Okay, that's something we use this squirrel as our analogy. Yeah. Anybody want to say anything? Okay, nothing. So the conclusion here is that emotion stimulus is all about the release of brain chemicals. So your job is to keep on the release of these brain chemicals. Yeah, first you want to push for the stress chemical, the stress hormones, by introducing the pain stimulus. You being personal, let them feel the prospect of the pain, let them experience it. It must be urgent to them. It is so important for them to pay the attention and do something about it now. Yeah, and then but this is important. The release of stress chemical must be followed with the release of dopamine. You must not wait more than 30 minutes and only you want to introduce your products. It will not be effective. because they are now in a state of calm. They're no longer stressed. The effect of this cortisol hormone will switch off the retention. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want them to feel too calm. You want them to experience the stress from the release of the chemicals. Okay, so stress hormones plus dopamine plus stress hormone plus dopamine are the chemicals that we want to be released in the audience brains. Without these chemicals, there will be no emotions. So in order for you to come up with these chemicals, you have to use I don't know, all kind of stimulation of the senses. Next, if I have time, next Monday we'll give you some example of humor, how to make a joke, how to create a joke, how to borrow a joke, as long as the joke is relevant to the products or to the problem that being addressed. Okay, so all of this picture that I used just now causes some kind of release of chemicals in your brain. No chemicals, no emotion. Conclusion number 2. Yes, we talked about this just now. The whole thing that we try to mimic actually the reward system that happen in the normal life. You're hungry, you search for food, you detect food, and then you eat food. There's going to be a release of chemical, stress hormone and dopamine in the process of from hungry to eat. Same thing. I can use this the squirrel looking for a mate, looking for a partner for survival. They're going to be reproduction. So like you are looking for a date, you go for a date, you feel excited, you feel sensation, and then you get married. They're going to be the reward system. Going to be even because it is for survival. It cannot be. It will not stop. It will be a cycle. After you eat, 7 hours later, you become hungry again, and then going to be cycle and cycle. So the brain chemicals are being released all the time in the cycle. It will not stop. Okay, but you can only persuade the unsatisfied or those with pain and suffering. If you do not find their pain, if you fail to exercise problem finding, they will not be hungry enough to listen to the pop. Okay, so you have to create that FOR, fear of regrets. Talk about the problems, find the proper problem. Problem findings is more important than problem solving. That's the key point there. Okay, because they can just Google for the problem solving, but for problem finding, you have to come up with all those narrative. Okay, finish pop with POA, pleasure of anticipation. There is a pleasure in anticipation. When you anticipate something good is coming, you experience pleasure. You can be more alert, you can be more excited, you can have more sensation, pleasure sensation, from stress to pleasure sensation. So by combining these stress hormones, by combining the villains and the heroes, your audience experience emotional lifts. Yeah, we want emotional lifts. So at the end, because of that dopamine, we actually give them some kind of drugs. Okay, so the FOR and POA can help you create the simplest yet most powerful emotional lifts. The objectives of POP is to come up with these emotional lifts. It is almost impossible for me to teach you how to do it, how to bring out the emotional leaves. You have to figure out yourself. Use your creativity. Maybe in the form of pictures, maybe in the concept, in the story. All of this can combine the FOR and the POA. Okay, just go back to the combining the memorable with the emotion. Now, in order for us to create pop, two stimuli here. One stimuli is memorable, another stimuli is emotion. In order for the pop to be memorable, it must be delivered like a story. It must have information encapsulated, context encapsulated, knowledge, and emotion. As we talked last Monday, emotion is difficult to be incorporated, difficult to be encapsulated, and today we tell you how emotion are used in the pop. Yeah. So by having story and emotion, you have this emotional leaf. It is going to be memorable. It's going to be more significant. People want to hear to this presentation because of that emotional leaf. Okay, so I will try my best Monday to finish off the final stimulus, which is on visual, very important one, visual. And before we go to visual, we will talk about humor. Humor is important because in the middle here, that could be humor. Some of your audience want to be sleepy, they are not paying attention, even though it's already very strong emotion in the beginning, but they want some kind of joke. So you have to introduce one or two, but your joke must be in flow. Flow, there's a flow. It's not something else. It must be relevant, related to the storyline. Yeah. Otherwise, it's a irrelevant joke. It's bad joke for that particular pop storyline. All right. So today is very big topics, emotion. So we have covered 5 out of 6 stimuli. Monday, I'll try to see whether you can learn about humor. Not everybody can make joke, but after that, maybe 10 minutes of humor, maybe we go straight to the next stimulus, which is visual, the last stimulus for the pop. All right, guys. So stop recording. 43 minutes, not bad.